It's really important that people see what it looks like when the full force of the United States military is turned on two guys who are clinging to a piece of wood and about to go under, just so that they have sort of a visceral feel for what it is that we're doing.
Yes. Democrats love South American narcotics cartels, the narco-terrorists that are killing tens of thousands of Americans, fatal drug overdoses every year. Democrat Congressman Jim Himes, and all the Democrats, they're out of the closet. They're pro-death. I just heard that riff come in, and for some reason, I thought Kendrick Lamar has never put together a riff anywhere close to just that one right there. Kendrick Lamar is a donkey show. But speaking of donkey shows, let's go back to Ilhan Omar for just a moment, because the Democrats, they love theft and crime and stealing billions in COVID relief funds to send to Somalia. And it turns out Ilhan Omar's fingerprints are all over this, and that she's got political connections, ties to people very directly involved in the theft of billions of dollars that she is linked to. Salim Ahmed Saeed, who is an owner of a restaurant where Ilhan Omar held her congressional victory party in 2018. He's been convicted of serving phantom meals during COVID-19, collecting the money but not actually feeding anybody with the COVID money. Stole over $12 million for meals that he didn't serve at his restaurant. And that's where Ilhan Omar had her big victory party, and she actually won because Democrats are mentally ill. And then there's Guhad Hashi Saeed, no relation. Just kidding. I think there probably is a relation. Guhad Hashi Saeed said the former 2018 and 2020 Ilhan Omar campaign employee pleaded guilty to running a fake food program, stole more than $2 million, personal benefit, of course. What else would you steal the $2 million for? And that's okay because, you're Democrats, right? By the way, there are more illegal aliens murdering more people across America, including in Charleston or Charlotte or wherever it was. I'll try to update you on that as well. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, and the D.C. police chief lady is stepping down, I think, to go head an LGBTQ organization of some kind. I'm not sure what it is. But the homicides are at an 8-year low right now in Washington, D.C., and the police chief is taking credit for it. But wait a minute, it just dropped under Trump with the new enhanced law enforcement. But never mind that. They're Democrats, so they lie to the end. Now, let's get back to the Democrats loving drug trafficking, because they love drug trafficking. And it is the Democrats like, these two yachters, the yachtsmen found themselves in distress on the water. And instead of rescuing the international drug cartel members, the Trump administration, that awful Pete Hegseth, they blew up the boat with the two innocent boaters on board. And yeah, they were wearing flip-flops and, fisherman hats. That's what they love to call them, fishermen and things like that. Now, you played number 13, right? You played number 13 because that's Democrat Congressman Jim Himes, and that's pretty amazing. You know what? I want to play it again because I wasn't paying close enough attention. And listen to the language that the Democrats use, the drug traffickers that still, even under Trump, killed, I think, 80,000 Americans last year in fatal drug overdoses. And the Democrats like, this is no big deal. It's just cocaine. And the guy's rubbing his nose. Jim Himes, Democrat Congressman, Connecticut.
It's really important that people see what it looks like when the full force of the United States military is turned on two guys who are clinging to a piece of wood and about to go under, just so that they have sort of a visceral feel for what it is that we're doing.
Yeah, they're clinging to a piece of wood and they're about to go under. No, they were clinging to the drug boat that had just been blown up in a military strike. and the boat had not been sunk and the drugs had not been taken off the market. And so the boat was hit again. And these Democrats want to lynch this admiral who's a very heavily decorated Navy SEAL, SEAL Team 6, Iraq, Afghanistan, Bad Mama Jamma. And the Democrats want to use the government to lynch him because they are the party of lynching black people from trees with ropes. Let's not forget. That's the Democrat Party. But this is pretty amazing stuff. Now, man, the whole innocent fisherman thing. The White House even put out a statement on this because the Democrats have become so ridiculous. Anna Kelly, White House spokeswoman, and you can call her spokeswoman, not a spokesperson, because, no Democrats. But the White House and Anna Kelly put out a statement, the words in quotation marks, innocent fisherman in quotation marks, is the new Maryland man, right? Because the Democrats, they call the MS-13 pregnant baby mama, beaten, human trafficking, MS-13 gang member, Kilmore Abrego Garcia, they call him the Maryland man, right? And then we found out he's a human trafficker, a pregnant baby mama beater, a gang member. And the Democrats go down to Salvador to eat lunch with him because they like him. Innocent fisherman is the new Maryland man hoax. Just like the media tried to paint MS-13 human smuggler Kilmore Abrego Garcia as a father of the year, they're now running cover for foreign terrorists smuggling deadly narcotics intended to murder Americans. President Trump is using every element of American power to take on the cartels and stop deadly drugs from flooding into our country, just like he promised on the campaign trail. Imagine that. What he promised and now he's doing it? You can see why they'd be confused by that. Now, there's a Democrat senator named Tammy Duckworth. She is actually a veteran of a combat zone and got blown up and is severely wounded. And the Democrats said, oh, she's an idiot. Let's run her for Senate. I think she might be a war criminal or a Nazi. And I'm just throwing the Democrat words around. I don't really think she's a war criminal or a Nazi. It's just what they call everybody, so it leads to in-kind responses, doesn't it? But Tammy Duckworth, Senator, Democrat, with Dana Bash on CNN, whose ex-husband was one of the felonious 51 from the Obama administration that lied to the American people about Hunter Biden's laptop having all the earmarks of Russian disinformation. Lies, all lies. Here is a disgraced former Army officer and still Democrat Senator Tammy Duckworth.
Senator, have you seen the video?
I have seen the video, and it is deeply disturbing. I am mostly concerned with the fact that we are putting our American servicemen and women in jeopardy here. We're putting them in jeopardy in case they ever get shot down. We're putting them in legal jeopardy. They could be brought up in international criminal courts. And so what we're doing here is taking those professionals or utmost professionals and putting them into harm's way. And that's what bothers me the most about what Pete Hegseth is doing. He is the least qualified Secretary of Defense in our nation's history, and he's very cavalier about doing things. The fact of the matter is only Congress can decide that we can go to war, and there was no such declaration made.
The old declaration of war by Congress trick, right? And Hegseth is the most unqualified. He's a decorated combat vet. I covered the Pentagon when we had a math professor from MIT under Bill Clinton made Secretary of Defense. But never mind that. It's disturbing, she says, putting our people into jeopardy. The International Criminal Court, which the United States does not recognize to have any legal authority over the United States of America, and certainly not the United States military. Tammy Duckworth is an idiot, but hang on, because the important part was at the beginning. Dana Bash said, you've seen the video, because they're talking about the war crime and the murder by the United States and the U.S. Department of Defense and Navy SEALs and the Secretary of Defense, a decorated Army combat veteran, and pay no attention to that. And Hegseth is the worst, the most unqualified. Everything she said is idiotic. Everything she said is idiotic. But it started with, have you seen the video? And she said, yes, right?
Senator, have you seen the video?
I have seen the video.
All right. Now, what they're talking about is the whole subject of the topic of discussion that they were going through was the second bomb, the second missile striking the boat when the two international drug cartel members were blown up with it. And they're in favor of the international drug cartel members. They're Tony Montana, from Scarface, is their guy. That should be CNN's Hero of the Year, Tony Montana. And she said, yes, I have seen the video. And then Dana Bash, amazingly, surprisingly, astonishingly, asked an appropriate follow-up question, because we've all seen the video on the news of the ship loaded with narcotics and being piloted by international drug traffickers, killing tens of thousands of Americans, again, in fatal drug overdoses this year. And Tammy Duckworth, oh, yes, I've seen the video. And Dana Bash said, but wait, because the second video is classified. It hasn't been made public yet. You've seen that?
I just want to make sure that that I get this accurate. You have seen the classified video of this particular strike, the first strike, and then the double tap, as it's known.
No, I've just seen what's been available in the media.
Okay.
I've read the full report, but I've not seen the actual video.
No. So when you said you've seen the video, you mean you've seen what CNN has shown. But as a fancy senator, you haven't seen the classified video of the second strike, the one that you people are willing to start a civil war over in the United States of America, because the Secretary of Defense is a war criminal and a murderer, and the Admiral, SEAL Team 6 guy, he Special Operations Command, he too could face legal job. And the idiot senator is such an idiot that as a combat veteran, disgraced former and a U.S. senator, she doesn't know that the United States does not recognize the International Criminal Court. And she says they could all be subject to the wrath of the International Criminal Court. And she hasn't seen the video, anything beyond what you've seen and your grandmother has seen on the television.
Senator, have you seen the video?
I have seen the video.
You have seen the classified video of this particular strike?
No, I've just seen what's been available in the media.
No. You've seen the video? Yes. The video that we're talking about? No. No, not that video. No, I haven't seen that. Isn't that amazing? And I love this one, Tammy Duckworth. The drug traffickers, they'll bring the drugs to Dominican Republic or Jamaica, and then that's the end of their. She's never seen Scarface, and then from there, a new part of the operation takes the drugs into Miami, into New York, where tens of thousands of Americans can be killed. Here's Tammy Duckworth. By
the way, the individuals in that boat were not even aimed at the United States. So everything that they've done has been illegal. It's illegal under international law. It's illegal under the Geneva Convention. And it certainly is even illegal under domestic law. It was essentially murder with that double tap strike.
It was murder, that double tap. I never heard of a second bomb being a double tap, but that's become the language being used these days. So wait a minute. They were not aimed, the individuals, but you mean the international drug traffickers, the Tony Montanas of this story. They were not aimed at America. What that doesn't mean anything. That if you're in court, you say, Your Honor, the meaningless words. I'm going to need several points of clarification, but none of that was provided by CNN and Dana Bash. Yeah, they weren't aimed at the United States. So everything that we've done is illegal. You hear that? Not what they've done is illegal. Not what they're doing is illegal. Trafficking, killing. Under Biden's presidency, more than 100,000 Americans dying each year in fatal drug overdoses. And no, they weren't aimed at the United States. So what is your thinking then? You should let them deliver it to the Dominican Republic, and then when it's moved to airplanes that deliver it to Miami or Fort Lauderdale, then what? But this woman is a stupid woman. She's an unintelligent woman. She's an unserious woman. And there is no saving her from her own ignorance, her own profound ignorance. This Christmas, as we all celebrate the gift of life, we all have an opportunity to share that same gift with a mother in need, in crisis, and her baby who's in that crisis with her. Imagine a young woman facing an unplanned pregnancy, feeling all alone and unsure of what to do. She's searching for hope and for guidance, and that's where preborn ministries come in very, very handy. There is no doubt that you know somebody whose birth was unplanned, right? And that's very common, isn't it? God's plan of redemption often works in very mysterious and unplanned ways. Every mother preborn serves faces a moment of decision, a crucial moment, when she sees her baby in an ultrasound, waving at her, saying hi. In that moment, she has the opportunity to say yes to life. Preborn's mission is to help her find the courage, the faith, and give her the support to make the right decision. This Christmas, for just $28, you can help save a human life, an innocent, helpless little baby. And thanks to a special matching grant, because people are so great and generous in America, your gift will be doubled. To donate, all you have to do is dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby when prompted. That's pound 250, the keyword is baby. Or you can go to Al Gore's amazing internet to preborn.com/plant. That's preborn.com/PLANTE. Yes, sir. Yeah, these, I remember when the Senate was supposed to be the greatest deliberative body on the planet Earth. Isn't that amazing? You'll never guess who the Democrats are planning on running for the Senate now. That's still coming up. So the Democrats set up this whole Somalia thing in Minnesota, and Ilhan Omar is their representative, amazingly. And the billions that Somalis have stolen because they're Somalis, you're not supposed to say Somalis are stealing. A lot of the money going to Al-Shabaab, a radical Islamic terror group in Somalia, which helps keep the place in the beep hole state that it continues to remain. All right, let's grab a quick call. Let's go to Hugh, calling from Germantown, Maryland. Hugh, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Chris, thanks very much indeed. I just wanted to make a very simple point about Al-Shabaab. We look at them as a terrorist group because that's the way they operate. Uh-huh. Actually, they're a slaving group. A lot of their raids, a lot of their activity is for the purposes of taking slaves for the East African slave trade. In the past, in the sort of the early 2010s, when U.S. AFRICOM was set up, there was a program to try and buy back some of the individuals who'd been slaved. And it's something that we don't talk about anymore. But the reality of Al-Shabaab is that their primary role and purpose now is just slaving into the Middle East. And this is something that was given a real kickstart when Gaddafi was pulled down, because in Libya now, the slave markets are up and running. But again, we don't like to talk about that because that doesn't fit the program.
Right.
So now we've got to the stage in 2025 where the Democrat Party in Minnesota is actually funding slaving.
And it's sex slavery. Also, the new communist jihadi mayor of New York, the Democrat, Zohran Mamdani, he's inciting more violence against the police because he's a communist and a jihadi. See, I want to share that with you in look at the time already, a couple of minutes. Well. Now, I had just played audio for you of Democrat Senator Tammy Duckworth, who's accusing superstar Navy SEAL, now commander of special operations, of being a war criminal and a murderer. Tammy Duckworth is, and the Secretary of Defense being a war criminal and murderer because they're blowing up drug trafficking boats. And they're like, oh, well, you have to go down and, do a Miami Vice thing and poke your pocket knife through the plastic and stick your little fingernail in there and then, snort it or rub it on your gums, on your upper, and then tell me whether it's really drugs or not. But until then, and besides, drugs, that's a law enforcement issue. Yeah, it's been working great for the last 50 years, hasn't it? Under Joe Biden, 100,000 fatal drug overdoses every year. And that's a number greater than we lost in the Vietnam War, not in 1 year, but in the entire war from 1959 to 1975. And let's go ahead and throw in the Korean War, too, because if you add those two wars, it still comes in below 100,000 Americans dead. The drug cartels funneling these drugs into the United States to kill last year, I think, more than 80,000 Americans, because now we're fighting back a little bit. But if you're a Democrat, you say, oh, no, let the drug cartels win. Let the children die. We'll harvest their organs. Isn't that amazing? So Tammy Duckworth, the people on the boats, they weren't aimed at the United States. They're aimed at the United States, stupid. And Dana Bash, she's a Democrat, and her ex-husband, Democrat, Obama administration and all that.
That's a very strong statement.
Murder.
Does that constitute a war crime? Is that what you're saying?
It is a war crime. It's illegal. How will you put it? It's all illegal.
There's no war. And they're like, well, Congress has to declare war. When's the last time Congress declared war? We have this authorization use of military force, which we abbreviate, and we talk about it like children use the, authorization. Use the AUMF. And, I might rephrase that one a little bit, but isn't that amazing? And this was one of my favorites also. They're pro-death of Americans. They're pro-crime. They're pro-criminals. They're pro-international drug cartels. They're pro-Nicolas Maduro. Part of it is Trump derangement syndrome, but it goes beyond that. It's a Democrat Party mental illness. Goes well beyond TDS. There is a Democrat in the House of Representatives named Adam Smith, perhaps ironically. Adam Smith is a Democrat, and he's shrugging. I don't even remember. He was on one of the Sunday shows, and he's like, hey, this isn't even fentanyl. This is just cocaine. That's, again, he hasn't seen Scarface either. You got Tony Montana chopping up the mountain of cocaine on his desk with his hand. You don't need a razor or a playing card. Just chop through with your hand. Say hello to my little friend. And the Democrat Party, they're part of the broader international drug cartel. But here is Democrat Congressman Adam Smith saying, hey, it's just cocaine. It just makes you a little perky and you have a better time at the party.
There's no fentanyl involved in what we're blowing up down in the Caribbean, even though the White House and others keep saying that. This is cocaine, which is a problem.
No, they don't.
But if you really wanted to get after this, you'd be putting pressure on China to stop the precursors, and you'd be putting pressure on Mexico where the fentanyl comes through.
Which they've already done, and which who did he send? Steve Witkoff to China to fight against the export from China of the precursors that then go to Mexico, where they're made into fentanyl and then studied and smuggled into the United States. And the Democrats have the open border, the southern border. They didn't lift a finger, this filthy Democrat, Adam Smith. They didn't lift a finger under 4 years of Joe Biden with 100,000 dead a year and fatal drug overdoses to have China cut off the flow of the precursors for fentanyl. They also didn't give Mexico a hard time. They gave Mexico money. They helped Mexico, the Democrats and the Joe Biden administration. So it's just cocaine. Come on, it just makes you perky. It makes you happy. I get no kick from cocaine. Flying so high like some bird in the sky is my idea of nothing to do. Boop, boop, boo. But I get a kick out of you. Adam Smith, it's just cocaine. It's only cocaine. I don't know if he's familiar with the cocaine wars across Latin America, across the United States, the number of people that are shot every day in the United States over cocaine and cocaine money. It's honestly, there's probably more money in cocaine, therefore more shooting, than in fentanyl, even though fentanyl has a very lethal effect. But that's it. Hey, it's just cocaine. It's like, they sound like coke dealers. It's like, I don't know, Trading Places and Dan Aykroyd, it wasn't heroin, it was PCP. These people. Senator Tom Cotton, on the other hand, is an American, and he's pro-American. He's on our side, and he is two things: a Harvard-educated lawyer, but don't hold that against him yet, and And then after he was a lawyer, he joined the Army to get into combat. And they said, well, we want to make you a Harvard-educated lawyer in the Army Lawyer Corps, the JAG Corps. And he said, no, I want to tote a rifle in combat. So he left and went and toted a rifle in combat. And he's a decorated combat veteran and a Harvard lawyer. And Adam Smith and Tammy Duckworth, where do they get these people? They're unintelligent people. They're unserious people. They're low IQ people. And the Democrat Party has arranged it so everything they say is detrimental to us. Every position they take, every policy they advocate will get more Americans killed and will be good news for Kilmore Abrego Garcia and for Nicolas Maduro and for the Medellin cartel. Are they still operating? And for the Tren de Aragua cartels. Good for them. Senator Tom Cotton is a Republican. He's from Arkansas.
Now, this controversy, let's remember, all started with a Washington Post story about 9 days ago that said after the first strike, there were 2 survivors that were helpless, and then they were ordered to kill these helpless survivors. That is simply not the case. They were not floating in the ocean on a wooden plank or in life jackets. They were on the capsized vessel. They were not incapacitated in any way. It was entirely appropriate to strike the boat again to make sure that cargo was destroyed. It is in no way violation of the law of war. And I think the Washington Post owes Secretary Hegseth and especially Admiral Mitch Bradley, a highly decorated career Navy SEAL, an apology for that slander.
An apology for that slander. Absolutely true. Tom Cotton is a solid enough guy, and I might have disagreed with him once or twice, but who cares? You know, he's right almost all the time, and he has the credentials to back up what he's saying. These people, the Democrat Party. You know what else the Democrat Party does? They're the open border party. They're the party of open borders and illegal aliens. And you see another illegal alien. Last week, they're all over the place, running over and killing the 11-year-old boy. And what was that, the day before Thanksgiving? And another illegal, that was in California, another illegal alien. And then fleeing the scene, of course, because, that's because he's afraid of the police. That's because he just ran over an 11-year-old boy and crushed him and killed him, and he's an illegal alien. But the Democrats see him as a voter for them. Aren't they amazing? And now, here we go again. Charlotte, remember where the creepy Democrat he was arrested 72 times, and they put him out on the street again and again. Then he slashed the throat of that nice Ukrainian refugee woman who was a legitimate refugee, and slashed her and nearly cut her head off, O.J. Simpson style, on the light rail in Charlotte. Well, now, suspect arrested after stabbing on Charlotte light rail. Oh, no. Can you believe this? Had previously been deported. Court documents show. The incident comes less than 4 months after deadly stabbing on the Blue Line claimed the life of a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, Irina Zarutska, and we talked about her for a while. Now, a man is in custody after a reported stabbing on the Charlotte area transit system Blue Line on Friday evening after we had left for the day. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg police said medic confirmed it responded around 5 p.m. near the stop along North Brevard Street and East 25th. One person was being treated for serious injuries, according to the agency. On Saturday morning, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department confirmed detectives identified 33-year-old Oscar Solorzano as the suspect. And the police said Solorzano was quickly apprehended after the stabbing, taken to Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, and was charged with attempted first-degree murder, assault with a deadly weapon, inflicting serious injury, breaking and entering of a motor vehicle, carrying a concealed weapon, intoxicated and disruptive behavior. So he's a drunk illegal alien. Is he a Mexican? Because then you say drunk Mexican, right? But there it is. And court records indicate that the illegal alien was intoxicated, drunk Indian on the light rail, and challenged the victim to a fight, and was shouting at others prior to the stabbing. His address was still listed as an address matching the roof above shelter And so he's an illegal alien. He's drunk. He's living in a shelter. And he's out there picking fights on the light rail, which he doubtless didn't pay for. And then he stabs somebody, and it's an illegal alien because now our borders are Tom Homan. He doesn't like any of this, and he's against crime. He's for the American people. He's not a Democrat. Tom Homan, borders are.
We knew there's over 600,000 illegal aliens with a criminal record walking the streets of this country. These are more than 2 million people who crossed the border under Joe Biden and got away. They weren't fingerprinted. They weren't vetted. They paid more to get away. So this is what President Trump's committed to. We're working with ICE and DOJ to locate every one of these criminals and remove them from this country.
I am telling you. So we know, again, illegal aliens, more likely to be criminals. And they say, then they lie. I've heard it 1,000 times over the years. Every idiot, brainwashed, glassy-eyed zombie loon, a.k.a. Democrat, they say, immigrants commit crimes at a lower rate than natural-born American citizens. That's only because of Democrats who commit so many crimes. But that's immigrants. That's not illegal immigrants. They leave out the word illegal when they make that point. And the statistical point is true. I know lots of people that have immigrated from all over the world. I've worked with people that have immigrated from all over the world, all over the place. Our last caller, a brilliant caller, Hugh, is an immigrant. And I've spoken to Hugh before. We were talking about him after I ran out the clock on him. But Hugh's great. He's a veteran, a British veteran, and he's serious. His son is a U.S. Marine. Hugh is a proud American. He's great, a great person. Now, these people, and not an illegal alien, and he's not committing crimes. But the Democrats say, and they just change what you've said until it's no longer what you've said, and then they attack you for what you didn't say, because they're mentally ill. They genuinely are. I think every one of them, just extraordinary stuff. But with that said, let's go now to the incoming Democrat mayor of New York City, because Zohran Mamdani posted a video over the weekend, and that's what this was, right? It's not even a news interview. He posted a video. Here are the things that he wants to say about how he loves crime and criminals and wants bad things to happen to the American people. He is Zohran Mamdani. The Democrats elected him mayor of New York.
We can all stand up to ICE if you know your rights. ICE is legally allowed to lie to you, but you have the right to remain silent. If you're being detained, you may always ask, am I free to go? Repeatedly until they answer you. You are legally allowed to film ICE as long as you do not interfere with an arrest. New Yorkers have a constitutional right to protest. And when I'm mayor, we will protect that right. I will fight each and every day to protect, support, and celebrate our immigrant brothers and sisters.
So the current Democrat mayor of New York doesn't protect your right to protest, which is legally protected. The video he posted has subtitles in Spanish, should be in Arabic as well, for that matter. And he's advising the Democrat elected now, the mayor-elect of New York City, our most populous city, and he's giving advice as the incoming jihadi, anti-Semite, radical left communist mayor from Uganda of New York City. He's giving advice, sage advice, on how to subvert federal law enforcement in their efforts to enforce the laws as passed by Congress. And he's advising people to resist and telling them what to do in order to resist. Resist we much. Wow. The Democrat Party. I wonder what this country would be like if they were on our side. Oh, yeah, and Jasmine Crockett, always reliable, expected to launch her Senate campaign. The filing deadline is coming up. Jasmine Crockett running for Senate. I think she's planning on running against Ted Cruz, isn't she? Yeah. If she wins, I would be for giving Texas to Mexico, or maybe Venezuela.
But resist we much. We must and we will much. About that be committed.
Jasmine Crockett, she's going to run for the Senate in the state of Texas. Governor Abbott says she'll be crushed Because she's a genius. She's a Democrat.
I am still thinking about running. We did get our polling back, so we are moving on to the next phase to determine whether or not this is would make sense in the moment. And to be perfectly honest, the only reason that I'm continuing to consider whether or not I do this is because my polling says I can win.
Not because she loves America, wants to do the best thing for the people of Texas, but the polling says I could win. So what more do you need? All right, let us grab our last phone call of the day. Let's go to Bill, calling from beautiful Kenosha, Wisconsin. William, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning and happy Gravitas.
Gravitas Day. I love that moment.
So you've talked about how your starter marriage was the anniversary of, what was it, D-Day or something?
No, it was Hiroshima, the bombing of Hiroshima. August 6th.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
My starter marriage is the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And boy, was my marriage emblematic of that fateful day.
I saw you on the board, and Jasmine put this up on the board. And I said, and Michael said, this guy's talking about his starter marriage. I said, but wait a minute. His starter marriage wedding anniversary is on Pearl Harbor Day, and mine is on Hiroshima Day. So we're like marriage bookends.
That's right. That's right. And I have one more real quick thing. Whenever you're talking about the Trump administration blowing up drug boats, you should play the soundbite of Stripes when Bill Murray goes, "Blown up, sir."
You know, I think I cited another Stripes quote earlier today, as a matter of fact. But that's
a fact,
That is great stuff. Good. That's a funny movie full of funny stuff. Teaching the kid how to play poker. That was great. Lots of great stuff.
Right.
But
I got to get going to my very important appointment with the Secretary of Egg Salad. So
Secretary of Egg. That is great. There's Bill in Kenosha. See, normal people in America. I love this. I miss normal. God, I love normal. Yeah. Yesterday, the anniversary, and I was talking about it yesterday, going to the Kennedy Center. And the Kennedy Center, assassinated by a communist on Pearl Harbor Day, right? On Pearl Harbor, with Donald Trump. President Trump was there last night. I'm like, this geometry on this is not very good. Everything was peaceful. It was great. And the crowd at the Kennedy Center loved President Trump. Round of applause after round of applause, getting laughs when he wanted laughs. It was great.
Load up, sir! Load up, sir!